Have you ever felt it? That haunting sense that something about this world doesn't add up, that the life you're living, the story you've been told, isn't the whole truth? Let me tell you something that will sound impossible, even absurd at first. You were never born, and you'll never die. Strange, isn't it? How can that be true when everything around you screams otherwise? The clock is ticking, the years are passing, and you've been taught to fear the inevitable. But what if I told you that fear is the first lie? That your very existence is not what you think it is? For your entire life, you've been living in a carefully constructed illusion, one so convincing, so seamless, that you've never thought to question it. The dates on your birth certificate, the aging face in the mirror, the graves in the cemetery, they all seem so real, don't they? But what if I told you they're not? What if everything you believe about beginnings and endings is part of a grand deception designed to keep you bound to fear, to limitation, to the false belief that you are small, fragile, and temporary? You've been playing a role in a story that was never yours to begin with. Here's the secret they don't want you to know. You are not who you think you are. The body, the mind, the identity you've spent your life protecting, they are all illusions, masks worn by something far greater, far more eternal. And the most shocking part, you've always known this deep down. In those quiet moments when the noise fades and the world feels like a dream, you felt it, the whisper of truth, pulling at the edges of your awareness. But the world has taught you to ignore it, to dismiss it, to stay asleep. Because if you woke up, the illusion would shatter. So here you are, standing on the edge of a truth so profound, so unsettling, that most people will never dare to face it. But you're different, aren't you? You've always felt there was more to you, more to life, more to existence than what you've been told. The question is, are you ready to see it? Are you ready to step beyond the lies, to uncover the truth that's been hidden from you your entire life? Because once you do, there's no going back. What you'll discover will change everything. Have you ever questioned why you fear something you've never actually experienced? The world has taught you to dread an end and to celebrate a beginning. But what if both are fabrications, no more real than a shadow cast on a wall? The truth they never told you is this: you were never born, and you'll never die. Hard to believe? That's because this deception has been masterfully woven into every layer of your existence. The idea of a starting point and an ending point isn't just wrong, it's a prison. And every time you cling to it, you tighten the chains around your true, boundless nature. What if I told you that birth and death are nothing but costumes in a cosmic play? Picture this. The actor steps onto the stage, dons a mask, performs, and then disappears behind the curtain. Does the actor cease to exist when the mask is removed? Of course not. Yet you've been convinced that the mask, your body, your identity, is all you are. The world points at the mask and says, "This is you," while the truth, hidden in plain sight, is that you are the awareness watching it all unfold. You are not the wave, but the ocean pretending to be one. And here's the paradox. While you've spent your life fearing the end of the mask, you've ignored the eternal presence beneath it. Think for a moment about time. Isn't it strange how life feels like a straight line, moving relentlessly from then to now to later? But what if time isn't linear at all? What if it's more like a circle, or even a vast, still ocean where past, present, and future exist all at once? The truth is, your obsession with beginnings and endings is rooted in a cosmic misunderstanding. Time isn't real. It's a trick of perception, a narrative invented to keep you anchored to the illusion of separateness. If time collapses, so does the idea of death. And if death collapses, who are you without it? Eternal, unbound, infinite. But that's precisely the truth you were never meant to uncover. You see, the lie of birth and death serves a purpose: control. Societies, systems, even spiritual teachings, they thrive on the fear of an ending. After all, what motivates you more than the idea that your time is running out? But what happens when you stop playing along? When you realize there's nothing to end because nothing ever began? That's when the game starts to unravel. And as the threads of this illusion fall away, the next deception reveals itself, the one that's even closer to home, the identity you've mistaken for yourself. Who are you? Not your name, not your job, not even the roles you play in life. These are just masks, aren't they? Take a moment and think about it. Everything you call you is built from memories, labels, and fleeting emotions. But here's the question no one dares to ask. If you strip all that away, what's left? The truth is as unsettling as it is liberating. The self you've spent your whole life defending doesn't actually exist. It's a construct, a mirage conjured by the mind to make sense of the infinite. And yet you've been taught to worship this illusion, to believe that this fragile, ever-changing identity is who you are. Your memories, your personality, your likes and dislikes, they feel so personal, don't they? But aren't they just a patchwork of experiences stitched together by the mind? Think about it. You weren't born with an identity. You didn't come into this world knowing your name, your beliefs, or your limitations. These were given to you, shaped by others, molded by society, and yet you've accepted them as truth. But here's the paradox. If your identity can change, if the you from 10 years ago is unrecognizable from the you today, then how can it be real? The ancient teachings call this the false self, the mask of individuality that hides your infinite essence. Imagine this. You're standing in front of a mirror, watching your reflection. The reflection moves when you move, smiles when you smile. It feels so real. But would you ever mistake the reflection for the one looking at it? That's exactly what happens when you believe you are your mind, your body, your thoughts. You become lost in the reflection, forgetting that you are the one observing it all. This is the great cosmic misunderstanding, the belief that you are the reflection rather than the boundless awareness behind it. The more you identify with the reflection, the more you lose touch with the eternal awareness that never changes. Here's the secret they don't want you to know. The dissolution of the ego isn't a loss, it's a homecoming. To see through the illusion of self is to realize that you are not the roles you play, not the thoughts you think, and not the story you tell yourself. You are the timeless witness, the unchanging presence beneath it all. But breaking free from this mirage requires more than understanding. It requires experience. So who are you without the masks, without the labels, without the story? The answer is waiting, just beyond the illusion of time. Time. It feels so real, doesn't it? Ticking away, moment by moment, dragging you from the cradle to the grave. But what if time is nothing more than a trick, a clever illusion designed to keep you tethered to a world that isn't as it seems? The ancient sages understood this secret. Time is not linear. It's not even real. Birth and death are just markers on a circle that never began and will never end. You are not moving through time. Time is moving through you. But what does that mean? It means that the very idea of a beginning and an end is as false as the identities we cling to. Imagine for a moment that time is like a wave on the ocean, rising, cresting, and falling, only to blend back into the infinite waters. Does the wave ever truly exist on its own? Or is it always just the ocean pretending to have a shape? Now take this metaphor further. What if your entire life is that wave? You think you're born when you rise, and you die when you fall. But in truth, You've never been separate from the ocean. You are not a moment within time. You are timeless existence itself. Can you feel it? The weight of the illusion starting to lift? This illusion of time isn't just about clocks and calendars. It's the foundation of everything you believe about life. You only live once, they say. But what if that's the greatest lie of all? If you were never truly born, then how can you ever truly die? And if there's no real death, what does that mean for how you live? The fear of time running out, of moments slipping away, is what keeps you trapped. But the moment you see through this lie, you'll realize something profound. You've never been racing against time, because you are the stillness in which time unfolds. So, how do you begin to see beyond time? You stop chasing it. You stop trying to hold on to moments or escape from them. Instead, you notice the awareness that has been with you all along, the silent presence that has never changed, never aged, never moved. This is the eternal truth they've tried to bury, that you are not bound by time because you exist beyond it. But to fully grasp this, you must first unravel the cosmic game of life itself, where individuality is nothing more than an illusion. Life is a game, but not the kind you think it is. It's not about winning, losing, or even survival. It's about playing a role in an infinite cosmic theater. Everything you've experienced, every thought, every emotion has been part of this elaborate performance. But here's the catch. You've been playing without knowing it's a game. You've been so immersed in the role of you that you've forgotten the truth, that individuality is an illusion. What if every person you've ever met, every conflict you've ever faced, was just another character in the same play, all orchestrated by one universal consciousness? Think of a dream. While you're dreaming, every character feels real. You interact with them, love them, fear them, even fight them. But when you wake up, you realize something shocking. They were all you. The same consciousness projected into different forms. This is life, a simulation where the player and the played are one and the same. The Hermetic teachings call this the all, the unifying force that pretends to be many. And here's the twist. Every challenge, every joy, every heartbreak you've ever experienced was never about you. It was the universe, learning about itself through your eyes. But why this game? Why this elaborate illusion of separateness? The answer lies in experience. The infinite can't truly know itself unless it forgets what it is. And so it plays, pretending to be human, pretending to be limited, pretending to be afraid. But every once in a while, something extraordinary happens. A player wakes up. They remember that the game is just a game, that the masks and roles are temporary, and that the awareness behind it all is eternal. When this happens, the rules begin to crumble. The fear fades, the illusion of self dissolves, and what remains? The infinite essence, the timeless existence, the boundless awareness. Here's the question. Are you ready to wake up? Are you ready to see the game for what it truly is? This isn't about abandoning life or escaping its beauty. It's about understanding it. Life isn't happening to you. It's happening as you. Every moment, every interaction is a reflection of the infinite playing out its own drama. But to truly grasp this, you must first confront the fear that keeps you locked in the illusion, the fear of death, the ultimate tool of control in this grand design. What if I told you that fear isn't real? Not the kind of fear you've been taught to believe in anyway. Fear of death, fear of loss, fear of the unknown. It's all part of the matrix, the invisible web designed to keep you small and obedient. The truth is, fear is the most effective tool of control ever created. It shapes your thoughts, your decisions, your very sense of self. But here's the secret they never wanted you to know. Fear only works if you believe the lie. And the biggest lie of all, that you are separate, that you can be harmed, that you can ever truly end. Think about this. Every structure of control, whether it's societal, religious, or personal, is built on the foundation of fear. Why do you follow the rules? Why do you chase security, approval, and success? Isn't it because deep down you're afraid of what happens if you don't? But let's pause for a moment. What are you actually afraid of? Death? Loss? Non-existence? These are illusions tied to the false belief that you are this body, this mind, this temporary identity. The ancient teachings whisper a different truth. You were never born, and you'll never die. What is there to fear when you realize you are infinite? Here's the paradox. The harder you try to avoid death, the more you are controlled by it. Look around. How many decisions in your life have been driven by fear? Fear of not being enough, fear of failure, fear of the clock running out. But what if you could see through it all? What if, for just a moment, you stepped outside the matrix and realized that fear is nothing but a shadow, a projection of a mind trapped in illusion? When you stop identifying with the story of you, fear loses its grip. You see it for what it is, a fleeting thought, powerless against the eternal awareness you truly are. Escaping the fear matrix isn't about running away. It's about waking up. It's about seeing the cage for what it is and realizing the door has always been open. The fear of death, the ultimate weapon of control, dissolves the moment you understand that life doesn't belong to the body. It belongs to the infinite. And as fear fades, something extraordinary happens. Liberation. A freedom so profound it transforms the way you see everything. But to truly embrace this freedom, you must first turn inward and meet the silent witness, the timeless presence that has always been there, waiting for you to remember. Close your eyes for a moment. Who is the one observing? Not your thoughts, not your emotions, not even the voice in your head. There's something deeper, isn't there? Something that watches without judgment, that notices every moment without becoming it. This is the timeless witness, the silent presence that has been with you since before you can remember. It doesn't age, it doesn't change, and it's never touched by the chaos of life. But here's the secret. This witness is not separate from you. It is you, the real you, hidden beneath the noise of the mind and the illusion of identity. Think about it. Everything you've experienced has come and gone. Thoughts rise and fall. Emotions surge and fade. Even your body has changed countless times since the moment you were born. And yet, something has remained constant. What is it? It's the awareness that sees it all, the eternal observer that cannot be defined or diminished. While the world around you shifts and transforms, this awareness is like the stillness of the ocean beneath the waves, untouched, unbroken, infinite. It is the part of you that has never been born and will never die. But here's the challenge. We've forgotten how to notice this witness. We've become so lost in the stories of the mind, our fears, our desires, our roles, that we mistake them for reality. Imagine standing in front of a mirror and mistaking the reflection for the one looking at it. That's how most people live their entire lives, believing they are the reflection instead of the eternal awareness behind it. The truth is, you don't need to create this awareness or search for it. It's already here, closer than your own breath. All you need to do is remember. Try this. Sit quietly and watch your thoughts as if they were clouds drifting across the sky. Don't judge them. Don't cling to them. Just notice. Can you feel the space between the thoughts? That space is where the timeless witness resides. The more you connect with this presence, the more the illusion of self begins to dissolve. And as it dissolves, something extraordinary happens. You start to see the world for what it truly is, a dream unfolding within the vast stillness of eternal awareness. But to fully awaken, there's one final step. breaking the illusion entirely. What if everything you believe about yourself, the thoughts, the memories, the roles you play, is a lie? Not a malicious lie, but an illusion so convincing it feels like truth. You've spent your entire life identifying with the body, the mind, the story of me. But here's the revelation few are ready to face. You are not the body. You are not the mind. And you are certainly not the fragile identity you've worked so hard to protect. What you truly are cannot be named, cannot be confined, and cannot be destroyed. The question is, are you ready to let go of the illusion? Consider this. The body you see in the mirror is not the same body you had 10 years ago. Not a single cell remains. The mind, too, is constantly shifting, collecting new beliefs and discarding old ones. Yet through all this change, you still feel like you. Why? Because what you truly are isn't physical or mental. It's awareness. And awareness doesn't age, doesn't die, and cannot be divided. It's like the screen on which the movie of life plays. The characters, the scenes, the drama, they all come and go. But the screen remains untouched, unchanging, eternal. So how do you break free from the illusion? Start by questioning everything you've been taught to believe. Ancient teachings, like those of non-duality and Advaita Vedanta, offer tools to pierce through the illusion. Meditative practices, for instance, can help you observe your thoughts and realize that you are not them. One exercise is to sit quietly and ask yourself, who am I? Keep peeling back the layers of answers. I am my name. No, that's a label. I am my thoughts. No, those are passing. Eventually, you'll reach a silence so profound that the only thing left is the awareness itself. That's the real you. But breaking the illusion isn't just about understanding. It's about living from this realization. It's about seeing the world not as a collection of separate beings, but as one infinite essence pretending to be many. When the illusion dissolves, so does fear. So does attachment. What remains is a deep, unshakable peace and the realization that you were never born, you'll never die, and you've always been free. But now comes the final and most beautiful truth, the revelation of the eternal essence that you are. Who told you that you were just this body, this mind, this fleeting life between birth and death? This idea isn't truth, it's a prison. The eternal you, the real you, exists beyond time, beyond space, beyond every limit you've been conditioned to believe. Imagine for a moment that everything you see, touch, and experience is like a dream. While the dream feels real, there's always something deeper, something watching, untouched by the chaos. That watcher, that silent presence, is you, the infinite essence that has never been bound by the rules of the game. Think about the stars in the sky. At first glance, they seem scattered, distant, alone. But the truth is, they are all part of one vast, interconnected cosmos. This is you. Not a single fragment, not a fleeting moment, but the whole, pretending to be a part. The story of birth and death is like the flicker of a flame. It captures your attention, but the fire itself is eternal. Can you see it now? The you that exists beyond the stories, beyond the roles, beyond the illusions. This isn't philosophy. This is the forgotten truth waiting for you to remember. When you begin to feel the eternal you, life changes. Fear dissolves, because what is there to fear when you've always existed and always will? Attachments loosen because you realize you don't need to cling to anything. Everything you've ever sought is already within you. This isn't an escape from life, it's an awakening to it. Every experience, every relationship, every fleeting moment becomes a reflection of your infinite nature. You stop surviving and start living, fully aware that the essence of who you are is timeless, indestructible, and infinite. But now comes the hardest question of all. What will you do with this realization? Knowing that you are eternal, will you keep pretending to be small? Will you keep living as though the clock is ticking, as though this fleeting identity defines you? Or will you step into your infinite essence and live from that truth? This isn't just a shift in perspective, it's a revolution, a liberation, and it starts with one choice: to wake up. So here you are, standing at the crossroads between the illusion and the truth. Can you feel it? That pull deep within you, urging you to let go of the stories, the fears, the limits you've carried for so long. This isn't just another idea to ponder. It's an invitation to step into the infinite, to see the world not as a series of fleeting moments, but as the dream of an eternal awareness. The question isn't whether this truth exists. The question is whether you're ready to embrace it. What if, starting today, you stopped living as though you're running out of time? What if you started living as though you've never been bound by it? Think about it. How would your choices change if you truly believed you were infinite? Would you still chase validation, fear rejection, or cling to things that no longer serve you? Or would you finally allow yourself to live fully, fearlessly, and authentically? The truth is, this isn't the end of your journey. It's the beginning. Because once you wake up to the eternal you, the illusion of limitation crumbles, and all that's left is boundless possibility. So, I'll leave you with one final question. If you were never born and will never die, what are you waiting for? The life you've always longed for isn't out there. It's waiting for you to claim it, right here, right now.